going to be doing a show on the recent debate on Fox Business, the presidential debate 2016 for GOP. With me is Kyle Mason, and we also have a friend of mine, Jake Bird. He's on the phone right now with us. Jake, you there?
Yeah, loud and clear.
All right, cool. So, going to take a moment to discuss this debate. Yeah, there he is. I'll take a moment to discuss this debate. I think this is actually one of the most epic presidential debates I've seen in a while. Wanted to start out by mentioning, and this guy, I don't want to talk about him too much. Let's just go ahead and get him out of the way. John Kasich. How entertaining was that guy?
Very apologetic, begging for time.
Hey guys, hey!
Yeah, no kidding. It was really the first 2 minutes I almost completely got to the point where I just blocked him out, because in 2 minutes I actually counted, including his following statement, like his follow-up statement on his opening statement.
Right.
Because he's such a time whore. He said Ohio 5 times. So Mr. Ohio strikes again. And one of the biggest things was not getting enough time. So between the words time and Ohio, if you're playing a drinking game, you probably died that night.
He reminds me of a abused housewife that just says, "Please listen to me." Please listen to me. Yeah, he and I think he really if he would have just stopped saying "please listen" and give me some time, I think if he would have just kept speaking like the other people did and just kind of overpowered the conversation, he could have probably got in there like the rest of them.
Yeah.
But he's coming on. He's too nice of a guy, I think, to be up there.
Hey guys, I hate to crash the party.
Yeah. Come on, guys.
Hate to crash the party. Well, please don't. All right.
Go crash somebody else's. Go to the DNC, please.
Yeah. So he probably won't be there. I'd say within the next 2 debates. I'd be willing. Either one, the establishment doesn't like him, or 2, he's just not going to get enough draw to the through the polls.
Right. Well, I mean, it was like that, and the only reception he had from the audience was severe hissing and booing. So, anyways, I don't want to waste any more time with him. Did somebody want to follow up with another candidate or another part of the debate?
So, I would like to start off with Jeb. Yes, thank you. I would like to start off with Jeb. And this is a reoccurring event too, talking about how, and all of them say it, but Jeb said, repeal everything that Obama has done. Okay, so it's kind of a. So two things. One, you're saying that he has literally done nothing good. He has done nothing positive for the past 8 years. He's just been playing with little figures on his desk. Done actually nothing positive for the past 8 years, which I don't believe. It's strictly politicking it. But so that's just one thing. Like when I hear that, I automatically just say that's a really dumb statement. It's not smart. Any feedback on that, or am I off base?
Yeah, no, I totally get you on that. In regards to the fact that like you said, there's at least one. There are several aspects I'm sure you could find on Obama that are good, and really he's just running off the pick me because I'm not Obama. You don't want another Democrat.
Right. Yes.
Not for any redeeming qualities of his own. So just to say that you're going to completely, like, not even look into any policies that have been done and just completely repeal everything, and then replace it with what?
That's the question.
Are pretty similar.
You roll back 8 years. Okay, well, what's your great idea and how are you going to do it? Because it's taken 8 years to get to this point. It's a lot of bribing. It's a lot of convincing. I don't know. Jake, you got any thoughts on that? Repeal everything that Obama has done in the past 8 years.
Moronic, idyllic. It was a head in the clouds comment, and is the only time he actually said anything with any force, and unfortunately, it did nothing good for him. All the other time, he's just stammering.
Yeah, I think it was strictly for applause and just trying to get those Yeah, that's it. Just trying to get some pull towards his base. But other than that, I saw nothing significant from what he said.
Yeah, and then I will say he did spearhead the whole, and I kind of wanted to save this for later, but he did spearhead the whole Islam terrorism being our greatest national threat. And while I think it is severe and arguably more of a threat than immigrants coming across the border right now,
yeah, global warming,
our biggest threat.
What is it? I'm sorry. What was the biggest threat? You kind of cut out.
Islamic terrorism, he says, is our nation's greatest threat, and he was kind of spearheading that one with Carly Fiorina and Marco Rubio jumping on that bandwagon.
Yeah.
Talking about no-fly zones in Syria. He was actually the first one to say that.
That was a really good topic. I think we should talk about the no-fly zone. That's a really good topic because I think Rand Paul really brought it to the forefront and said, okay, let's talk about a no-fly zone through Syria, right? What does that really mean? That literally means shooting down Russian aircraft. How is that going to go over? And then none of them had a real answer to really answer that question directly. Are we really going to shoot down Russian aircraft? I mean, everyone knows that we're not really going to do that because that's a huge step, towards pretty much, annihilation for the entire civilization. But
right.
It's a silly thing to say, but it's also more silly to try to perpetuate that and go down that road of a no-fly zone. You already have planes flying there. Anyways, just what the conversation said, it was very silly to say that you're going to try to push Russia around in an airspace that's not ours and it's not theirs, but they're flying. And actually, if you want to look at it, Syria said that Russia could be there. They didn't say that we could be there.
And they are their own sovereign nation. They are a sovereign nation. So for us to set up a no-fly zone would literally mean invasion.
Right, Syria doesn't want us there because we are directly fighting them. We're supporting the rebels, and if that's a sovereign nation, which it still is because they haven't been toppled, and they're going to say that Russia can be there and we can't. It's just a silly argument. It's a silly thing to do.
Yeah, it kind of defeats that whole importing and exporting freedom across the countries when we don't even listen to the sovereign nations.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to say, though, the funniest part about it all is the fact that Jeb Bush was up there, doing all this warmongering, and the whole time I couldn't help but think of Porky Pig. You know how Porky Pig does all that stuttering? That's exactly what he sounded like. There's no way this guy's going to be our president. So I want to go ahead and write him off from ever being any hardly serious future discussions. If somebody wants to bring him up later again, I think we're beating a dead horse on that one. I don't think anybody's gonna.
For Jeb Bush, bring him up again.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. The majority of what I was really interested in the debate, and again, that was I told Jake this earlier. It's with the Democratic debate, but it goes with the Republican debate. It's hours of our lives we'll never get back. You can't. That's the one thing that is a finite resource. You cannot take back time. It's terrible. It's very upsetting. Anyways.
I don't know. I think I heard something about Sanders saying free time for everyone. I don't
know. Yeah. Well, I kind of want to get into the Rubio Rand Paul debate. Everyone knows that I'm a supporter of Rand Paul, and I really like how Rand Paul and Rubio went at it.
Yeah.
First, it started off with Rand Paul on the Federal Reserve and how it affects people's savings and how it's about currency manipulation, which I think is a really good point because, going back to the TPP, everyone talks about, well, China manipulates their currency, Japan, manipulates their currency. Again, it goes with we should be in Syria, but other people can't. We can manipulate our currency, but other people can't.
Right. American exceptionalism.
It's a constant hypocritical cycle of things that other people are doing it so evil, but we do it and we just kind of brush it under the rug, but we don't ever put it down on paper.
I think that was mostly with Trump, but I will say that Rubio and Rand had one serious exchange. I mean, they were at each other's throats. Almost expected punches to be thrown.
Over the tax plan.
Huh?
Over their tax plan, right? Is that the?
No, this one was
military spending, the 1-2 punch.
What's up?
Yeah, it was over both his tax credit plan for families and his funding for the military.
Yeah.
Paul was saying, you already got this around $1 trillion tax plan for refundable rebates for families with children, and now you're talking about funding $1 trillion to the military too. I mean, what about that?
This is a 6-minute rule announcement. If you are not in the boarding area, 2 minutes prior to departure, which is now. Southwest Airlines does reserve the right to delete your boarding pass to accommodate a passenger.
All right, so yeah, Jake's kind of cutting out there because your damn airport schedule there, Kyle. Way to go.
I was trying to cover it up, but yeah, no, that was probably the best debate. That was probably the best exchange during the whole debate when they talked about, and Rand Paul kind of became the director of saying, I want to go back to this. How is it conservative to have over $1 trillion in an unfunded program that you're not going to even fund, or you're not going to talk about how you're going to fund it? And then you could tell Rubio was really in the corner, because this is what he said. He said, "Look, everyone knows Rand is an isolationist," and
Right.
it's something that had nothing to do with the conversation, but was just lashing out, just something, And then everyone started.
He pulled his trump card.
He pulled his trump card. That's right. He pulled his trump card because he's learning from the best, right? And and then he got a ton of cheers. Everybody cheered. Everyone was like, "Woo, yeah, he's an isolationist." Like the fact that everyone cheered, one, made me think that he has a paid section that just cheers whenever he talks.
Yes.
But two, the comment was just so off. It had nothing to do with the conversation. It was terrible.
Right. All right. So I want to follow up on that too. I want to go ahead and dispel this whole Rand Paul being an isolationist, and I think this is the only way he could have taken this debate over the top, is if he brings up the fact that Marco Rubio, Carly Fiorina, Donald Trump, every one of them are actually way more isolationist than he will ever be. You have Rand Paul at the forefront talking about, hey, why do we have all these sanctions on all these countries we could be doing trades with? We could be trading, we could be exchanging goods with each other. Why would we ever stop talking to Vladimir Putin, or I don't even know who the leader of China is, that's embarrassing, but the leader of China? Why would we ever stop talking to these people when they're two of the most powerful nations in the world, and we're not going to talk to them? But he's the isolationist. He's the one that doesn't want to build a huge wall up on the border. I mean, you're talking about like textbook examples of isolationism, but because Rand Paul wants to bring things back home and bolster our defenses here, and reallocate the money towards an actual military and an actual fleet, apparently that makes him an isolationist.
Yeah, and Rand Paul has come out many times saying that one second. Rand Paul has come out many times saying that he himself will not. He said, "I won't cut a cent of military spending if we just bring it all back home." He'll continue with the weapons development. He'll continue with the same amount, the fleet, everything. If he just brings it all back home, shut down all the bases and move it all back home. So, is it a Department of Defense or is it a Department of Offense? And I think that's the question that
Well put.
He was bringing up. And Patton said he said himself. He said that the fact that the Department of Defense and the Department of War combined into one under the Department of Defense was a complete mistake. You have to have two separate entities. When you're at war, you have to have a Department of War. When you're just neutral and things are just going normally, and you're not at war, you just need a Department of Defense.
Right. Well, and then on top of that, if you just look at history, I mean, the most powerful nation, the most powerful empire, rather, in the world at one time was Rome.
Yep.
And the thing is they overplayed their hand. They kept spreading out. They spread their offenses out, and eventually all their military became outdated, and they pissed way too many people off. And it got to a point where their armies, again, so spread thin, were easily overwhelmed by all these other countries that they had pissed off. Whereas if they had backtracked, brought all their assets back, bolstered their offense, you know, I mean, it's whatever happened to, and this is Rand Paul's strategy. A lot of people don't remember is our strategy at one time was walk quietly but carry a big stick. That was back when we had the Great White Fleet. Yeah. Nobody would mess with us. They knew how powerful we were, and that's because we put all our money, rather than bombshells, we put it into vehicles that could actually launch those things. Now we just have 30-year-old rust buckets floating in the water. So.
Right. So I think Rand Paul definitely took the win there on questioning if Marco Rubio is really conservative. I think he defended himself well, and I think Marco Rubio, you know, he really backtracked and was on the defense, was like, well, no, I'm conservative. But you know what? He promised a lot of stuff to a lot of people. So in the end, he's going to win. You're always going to win if you promise to take stuff from other people and give it to you.
Agent 2, Bravo 11. That's one prospect. Agent 2, Bravo 11.
Society, yeah. Yeah, that could be a problem. Jake, you got any input, man? Is there anything that really stuck out to you?
Where's our hope and Cruz? No. I don't think I can really add anything to that. I mean,
anything out of the debate. What did you want to hit up on next?
Maybe so. Start off with I thought as the debates have progressed, I've noticed that the tax plans, now that they all put them out there, they've been getting really specific on the tax plan.
Yeah.
On their different plans, and again, I'm not a professional on this, but I think, like Trump said, I think every tax plan up on that stage is more effective than what we have today.
Right. Yeah, and I would say that's our greatest threat to national security right now is our debt. Really, I mean that's the silent, gonna be our silent killer. I mean, this thing is a colossus. Like 16 trillion last I checked. Like, that's a lot of money. If money is power, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of power. That's more power than really any country in the world right now has. That's just how big that debt is to everyone. So,
and it's negative power. It's what we owe.
Right. Exactly. Power over us.
Yeah. So, you know, you talk about these pending wars right now. The last thing we need to be doing is making this debt even larger and then putting ourselves into a precarious situation where we're about to fight a war. What I'd really like to see right now is just let Russia go ahead and fight this war over in Syria for us and just bow out and go ahead and stack our coffers, if you will. Cal, you still there? Well, I guess we lost Cal. You still there, Jake?
Yeah, I'm still here.
All right, so I'm just gonna. I guess I'm gonna keep the ball rolling here. I'm not sure if we're even still recording or not, but we'll keep the ball rolling here.
Yeah, we still got the live icon.
Right, cool. I don't know, maybe one of us took it over or something, but anyways, wanted to keep going on to talk about Cruz was also talking. Cruz is somebody that's, you know, a lot of people are pulling for right now. Two of the biggest competitors, obviously, Rubio and Cruz. And Cruz actually is on the same program as Rubio, and he's also has been hinting towards war. He's been hinting towards, you know, we gotta keep fighting these wars here with ISIS. And if need be, we got to show our chest. This is something I actually talked to one of my coworkers about. And he's like, you know, nobody respects us anymore. And, you know, if we have to, we'll push back against Russia. And I said, you know, even at the cost of war, would you be willing to do this? He's like, yeah, well, if it's necessary, yeah. We just got to let them know we're the world power. But I think what he doesn't realize is the fact that if we were to fight another war right now, I guarantee you one, it would bankrupt us, and two, if you think about how many people would that cost, like how many lives is that going to cost? Another war, a world war with Russia and possibly China jumping in, just to say we had the biggest dicks. I mean, what's
Penises.
Kyle, you're back.
Yeah, and it didn't stop broadcasting, so it kept recording. Great.
Yeah, we just got done talking about Cruz also being the warmonger. It's really only Trump and Rand Paul were the only two that weren't pounding on those war drums. As Jake put it, you had the wallflowers. It was Ben Carson. I almost forgot he was involved in this one. He's like, yeah, I think we should kill everybody in the world.
Well, they're too busy. He's too busy defending his college scholarship record, so he really can't be too. He really can't talk about the real problems. You gotta talk about where you got accepted to college. So who's gonna give you a free ride anyway? So we see where everyone stands on military. Obviously they have the people up there saying they want death, destruction. They're not going to go over there. Their kids aren't going to go over there, and they're getting paid a lot of money. They got a lot of support coming from companies that make a lot of money dropping bombs, developing weapons. I'm not saying you shouldn't develop weapons in defense, but come on, man.
Right.
But how about we move on to another big Rand Paul moment. I'm not trying to make it about Rand Paul, but can't help it.
I mean, he owned the debate. It's kind of hard not to.
Right, and I think and Jake too from my posts, there was a big moment where Rand Paul got a lot of support, for kind of pretty much making Trump shut up about the TPP and free trade. So one thing I'd like to say is, Trump said, "I'm a free trader." Then he went on to say about how he supports tariffs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He said, "I'm a free trader, but..."
Just to be clear, right quick for our viewers, a lot of people may not understand this, and this is something I'm still trying to figure out myself. When they talk about taxing imports, that's basically another way of saying tariffs. And the thing with this deal is that it's supposed to be cutting a lot of tariffs to countries over in Asia, which, as Rand Paul pointed out, China was nowhere in there. But countries that would get the ease on this and avoid these taxes or tariffs, as they really are,
right?
Vietnam. I know Vietnam's one of them. I want to say like
Singapore, Brunei, Hong Kong, Philippines, Chile, Ecuador. Yeah, anybody pretty much in the Pacific. I'm surprised South Korea didn't jump in there. They pulled out at the last minute. They already had a great trade deal with us. They can send as many cars to America as they want without letting anybody in. So why would they enter another trade agreement?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So he stood up there and he said, "I'm all about trade. I'm a free trader, but this is a bad deal for America. We need to protect." I'm not quoting, by the way. We need to protect America. We need to put up. He supports certain tariffs and taxes, is what he said. So right there in that statement. And he knows the difference. He's a very smart man when it comes to free trade, when it comes to trade, world commerce. He's not an idiot, right?
Right.
So when he says these things, it's strictly political. And when anything's strictly political, it's BS.
Right.
Just right down to it. Because he knows he's talking to a majority of people that don't understand the difference. Just like, and I'm glad you pointed that out, there's very little difference between a tax and a tariff, because if you put a tariff on someone's product when it comes in, people are going to get taxed when they want to buy it.
Right. Yeah, so I mean, yeah, that's definitely a problem. He coins this off as something like, and Jake actually turned me to the light on this one recently. It's like, you don't really realize it. You just think the consumers are just going to buy more American, but the thing is like, American products actually get to up their prices too. When they have to compete against China, they have to create higher quality and cost-effective products. But when you put these tariffs on these products that are coming in, well, then they don't have to compete as much, and so you have the possibility of executives pocketing more of this money. So really, in the end, you, the consumer, gets screwed by these tariffs. And what Trump was talking about too with this whole agreement having China involved was that China was going to be able to go in through these other countries, create a product, have them assembled in these countries, and then ship to America, thereby bypassing the tariffs.
Right, and
have a problem with.
The big thing there was, he was talking about, coming through the back door and how it's gonna be really great for China and all these things. And then Rand Paul stepped up and said, I think we should point out China's not part of this deal. I don't know why Trump was silent. That was the first time I've ever seen him be silent ever.
Yeah.
I was really odd that he just stood there and was silent, but I don't know why he didn't say, thank you, Rand, for making my point.
Well, I think that has to go with your earlier comment. He was talking politics. He didn't have the facts behind him. He knew people, especially in manufacturing, are afraid of China when it comes to trade. So that's what he was trying to do. He was hitting that China bandwagon, I guess.
Yeah, it's just like it's a good, just like ISIS. That people fear it for it's just been built up to a fear stance.
Right.
I just thought, I just thought he got a lot of cheers in that moment. I thought he got a lot of cheers for making such a. I mean, this was just an obvious comment. Like, duh, they're not part of it, and there's reasons why they're not part of it. One, we didn't want them to be part of it. We're trying to put our influence over China. But I think the main reasons why the TPP has turned out the way it has is because those countries are bordering China. They want to stay relatively mutual. They want to stay relatively mutual. Obviously there's going to be backdoor deals. There's a lot of corruption in those countries. And here's the thing, it's, they're in the trade, well, one, those countries haven't ratified the trade agreement. Once they ratify the trade agreement, we'll have some control over the trade there. And that's the key, is getting a foothold there. We send a majority of the military there. We'll get a trade agreement there. The trade agreement will continue to grow. How much are we willing to take on the chin to have a little bit of control over there? And the answer is 45 to 30% of things assembled can be not from TPP.
Right.
We're willing to take that hit, and that's the same thing with NAFTA. We said, how much of a hit are we willing to take to have control over the trade in the North American hemisphere? And we said 62.5% on automotive. And we see it time and again. We're willing to take a certain amount of hit to our industrial complex and to our industrial base and jobs for some power.
Right.
So,
and something I don't think a lot of people noticed either. It sounds like really Trump was the only one on board with that, but if you paid close attention, Kyle, your boy Ted Cruz, he was talking about the import tax, 16% import tax. At least I wrote it down here. So I guess I heard it at some point, but worth looking into more. But yeah, he was talking about reducing all exports to 0% tax. And again, anything that gets imported gets a 16% import tax.
Yeah.
So.
It's funny because they did that back in, that accelerated or exacerbated the Great Depression. Things started slowing down. They start putting tariffs on imports, trying to protect producers. What did happen? Other countries said, "Oh, okay, well, you know what? We're gonna have some tariffs too," and it just kept exacerbating. It kept growing into a catastrophe.
Right.
And that is just protectionism. Everyone up on the stage was talking. Either they were no comment or talking like Donald Trump. He's a protectionist.
Some might even say that it's isolationist rhetoric.
Yeah. No, isolationists, they don't even want to trade. To be the honest.
Something else I wanted to hit on, that was actually in regards to how he's going to pay for the World War III that he wanted to start, apparently.
Yeah.
His other thing he was going to talk about, 5 entities he's going to cut, all right? We got the IRS, we're going to cut it.
Yep.
Cut the Department of Commerce,
Okay.
Department of Energy,
All right,
Department of Commerce, and HUD.
And what was the last one?
HUD.
HUD.
I didn't bother looking that one up. I was just amused that he said
You know
Department of Commerce twice with that audiographic memory Glenn Beck was talking about.
Oh, yeah, that kind of shouted that. Well, you know what? I'm not going to give him too much shit on that because there's no way I could stand up on that stage and do anything other than piss my pants. But
yeah, I totally agree with you. I normally wouldn't call anybody out on that, but just the fact that Glenn Beck and Glenn Beck were just stroking each other off talking about his audiographic memory. I just wanted to point out it's a fallacy.
Well, it was funny because the first time Rick Perry ran for president, you remember he was upstairs and he was looking right at Ron Paul, and he was like, "I'd cut three departments, and you can only name two." He's like, I can't name the last one." Well, you know what? If you can't name the last one, just repeat it again because it sucks that much. The Department of Commerce sucks that much. Just delete it. Delete. Get rid of it. But you know what? A lot of people don't like. Yes, if somehow you manage that, they don't understand. Those jobs don't go away. Those people don't actually get fired. Very difficult to fire those people. And why would you necessarily want to? I guess smart people, they just get shuffled around in other government agencies, and we find jobs for them. But I'm assuming what he was talking about is the regulations and the interference they put up in the market. But yeah.
Well, I got all the talking points I wanted in. How much time we have left, Cal?
We're good because I renewed my Wi-Fi.
Sweetheart. All right. Well, I basically got all my talking points out. Just real quick, if I had to rate who won the debate, I'd have to get obviously Rand Paul in first. If I had to give a second, I would say probably Donald Trump. And if I had to give a third, I would say Ted Cruz. And fourth, I would say probably Neil Cavuto. Everyone else might as well not have even showed up.
All right, Jake, let's get your thoughts and opinions. Rate them.
Well, obviously, number one's Rand Paul. Number two, probably Ben Carson, just because he didn't say anything enough to damn himself.
Damn straight.
Just whispered something about total annihilation.
Yeah, something about his Jesus picture and
the
his
4 horses
scholarship. That's about it. And third, I don't know, of the warmongers and the protectionists, I guess Fiorina played it the best, most off, though Trump had more talk time.
Yeah, that was. I'm pretty much in agreement there. I think obviously I'm gonna go Rand Paul just because he's closest to my views. I like Fiorina just because she's got a lot of fire out there, and but Donald Trump, I think maybe tied with her. However, everyone else I really just cannot even put on the list. I can't get behind it. I can't get behind the intervention. I can't get behind the warmongering. I can't get behind the fact that they're like the Federal Reserve. There's too many things for me to stand up and be like, yeah, you know what, fourth. If everyone else died, I'd vote for him. I just really wouldn't. But I would like to say about the closing statements. Did you notice that the closing statements majority of them attacked Hillary? They spent a large amount of time attacking Hillary.
Well, I mean, it's the only sure thing that everyone's going to be in agreement on, even most of the Democrats. You aren't really going to piss anybody off by pissing on Hillary other than Hillary.
Right. It's just, they're trying to sell themselves, but, and by selling themselves, they mean, well, I'm really going to take her down. I'm not going to let her win. It's like, all right, cool, man.
Actually, I wanted to throw in one more thing, and I think this was huge.
Go ahead. Do it.
I will say, though, the one thing that rubbed a lot of libertarians, myself included, the wrong way, or at least at first I was rubbed the wrong way with Rand Paul, was when he was standing up there and saying, if you have a problem with unemployment, move out of democratically run cities. Go move in with a Republican. But if you really think about what he was doing there, for one, I mean, do you ever see someone like freedom fighters like Ron Paul or somebody like that, even Gary Johnson? Do you ever see them running? Do you ever see people like that in the Democratic Party? So, I mean, in all reality, yeah, he was kind of playing it up to the Republican fan base, the real GOP conservative guys. At the same time, I mean, he was still kind of accurate, and he made a good point. Right now we got all this unemployment. Well, we do have a Democrat as president. I mean, I know it's Bush's fault, but there has been a Democrat in office for the past 8 years.
It's 8 years, man. Come on, 8 years.
But what it all comes down to is like, you have to understand that unless he plans on going the same way Ron Paul did, where you have the support of everybody but not the establishment, you're going to end up losing. So
yeah, he learned from his father.
Yeah, that's
his
exactly.
His father had it. Had everything.
Endorsing him, so keep that in mind.
Right. Yeah, he had everything at his grips except the establishment. Even not even the okay, but he was literally. They said no. No, you're not getting on our stage.
Right.
And that. So I love Ron Paul, but since the first day I heard him, I said this guy's not gonna make it because he's just too damn honest, and he's just not mean enough. He's not mean enough. He's not. I think his son has learned a lot.
Right.
And he's been a little bit more reserved. I guess you could say. I don't know if that's the right word, but
yeah. That's accurate.
So yeah. So that's. Does anyone have anything else to throw on to the GOP debate? I think we've kind of hit most of it, and then plus the other two debates. Most of these debates, I would say, over 60% of it overlaps.
Right. Yeah. So
it really does. It's
talking points are covered.
Within the first 3 minutes, I always just want to be like, oh, God, why did I commit to this? I really do. No, I really do. I mean, I messaged you. I said, oh, man, what am I doing? But anyways, yeah. Anybody else got anything to add?
No, I'm good.
All right. Jake?
Until the next major clusterfuck.
That's what it is. It really is. Yeah, and you know what? Hopefully there's less people so we can get a little bit more airtime, because the more they talk, the more mistakes they make, and the more of character we see. So,
right.
So that is the 2016 Fox Business GOP presidential debate. Thank you for tuning in. Be sure to leave your comments below, and we'll try to respond if we get some good good enough comments. We can make a little video on them and respond directly to those comments. So thank you for stopping by.
Cheers.
Happy to be here. Till next time.
All right.